everyone, I'm Roxie Deer with the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce and Hype Wayne County, and we are so excited to announce this month's Young Professional Highlight, Traci. Traci is from Radford's Meat Market and Deli, and I'm going to let her tell a little bit more about herself, but welcome, Traci. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So, Traci, tell us a little bit about yourself, both personal and professional, and so our audience can hear a little bit more about what you do and where you do it.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me be a part of this. I don't often think of myself as a professional, so thank you. So like Roxie said, I'm Traci McCollum. I'm 27 years old. I'm the catering chef and catering manager at Radford's Meat Market. I also teach dance classes at Dance Techniques with Cheryl DeLucio. 27. I went to culinary school in Indianapolis. I have 2 cats. Yeah, I'm kind of boring.
Oh, you're not boring at all. Traci, you do incredible work, and some of the most delicious food in town comes from Radford's. So tell us how you got started in catering and culinary school. That's a unique path. How did you come up with that idea, and what was it like?
Sure. I always knew since a young age I wanted to cook. I remember being pretty young and sitting at my grandma's table helping her peel apples while she made apple pie. My mom was always cooking. We were making pizza dough or strawberry jam. Every event in our family has always been centered around food. So I didn't really know what to do from there. I knew I wanted to do food. I thought maybe I would do some sort of business school and then maybe go to culinary school. And then I thought, why? Just go to culinary school. That's what you want to do. So after about a couple weeks after high school graduation, I moved to Indianapolis and attended culinary school. So I've been working in professional kitchens since I was 16. I started working at Earlham, and I was with that company at Earlham and at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis. So I worked in total for that company for about 7 years.
Wow.
I moved back to town. A great opportunity came up where a new up-and-coming restaurant was opening. It was called the Kitchen at the Loft at the time. So I was the head chef there, and that was an amazing opportunity, a great learning experience. I met some really awesome people. And then Radford's kind of fell into my lap, and it has been the most perfect fit for the past 4 years. So it's been great.
And so tell us a little bit about Radford's. Everyone knows them as kind of this meat market and where you get incredible great meat, but there's this catering side to it too that's really unique and offering great opportunities.
Yeah, so we do catering anywhere from box lunches for 5 to 10 people to full plated dinners for fancy weddings. I mean, we do everything in between. We're kind of known in town for doing whatever you need. So we don't have set menus. We don't have a certain style. We have that creative ability to kind of do whatever the client needs.
That's amazing. I know you've catered some events for the chamber. You've catered events for me personally. You do my meal prep. You can do literally anything and everything that anybody asks for you. I've been so impressed. Tell us a little bit about why you chose. I mean, you were in school in Indy. You were working in these great companies. Why did you choose to come back to Wayne County?
Sure. So I was born and raised here in Richmond in Wayne County. I was kind of at a crossroads. School was ending. I was getting ready to graduate. Wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. So I transferred with the company back to Earlham, and then all these opportunities kind of came up. And I mean, my family's here, my friends are here, and it's just kind of grown into this great network of people in this community that I really enjoy.
Okay. I know you've made a really great home here. Is there something you would tell young professionals that they may not know about living in Wayne County that makes it great?
I think there are so many opportunities. I think people are quick to judge that it's a small town and there's not much going on, but it is what you make it. There's always things going on. There's always different groups and events and anything you could imagine. You might have to seek them out. They might not be on the radio station every day or in the news or on Facebook, but if you can get in with some of these different groups, there's always something going on.
Absolutely. I couldn't say that better. That's an awesome comment. We always ask young professionals to get involved. Are you involved in any groups in the community?
I mean, just teaching dance and working. That takes up most of my time, but I would love to get involved more in the community as much as I can.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about dance.
Sure. I've been dancing since I was 4. I'm not great, but it's a lot of fun. For those that do teach, so I teach a lot of the younger classes, like 4 to like 8, 9-year-olds.
Oh,
So
cute.
it's really fun.
So I'm going to use you for Dancing with the Stars next year. So you're going to be my coach. I'm calling it now. What is one professional skill that you are really excited that you've developed and you use it every day?
I think I have gotten very good at making connections with people. I feel like if people don't know me in the community, they know someone in my family. They know someone that I've worked with in the past. There's always, since we are such a small group and such a small community, there's always a way to make a connection. And I think I've gotten pretty decent at that in establishing personal and professional relationships with people.
And then on the opposite side of that, what is one skill that you hope you can develop in the future?
I think I definitely could work on more networking. I feel like we kind of get in our grooves and we see the same groups of people over and over. But yeah, I would definitely like to expand those groups and network out and meet new people and more people.
Absolutely. That's something that young professionals, I don't think, understand the value of, is having great connections at a young
Mhm.
age. That's lifelong. You're always going to have those professional connections, and they can work in so many ways for you, whether like your business where they're catering, and you might say, hey, I have a good friend who does catering, meet Traci. And this is a great opportunity for you and other young professionals to meet. As a plug, I will always say join Hype's networking nights, our events that we have, because there are lots of other people our age around the community. So here's my favorite question to ask. Who is your professional mentor and why?
Definitely Jen Farrell. Her and her husband Tom own Radfords. And I think they're great examples of how to run a business, not just run a business and own a business and let somebody else run it. I mean, they are in the shop, hands-on, butchering meat, scrubbing the floors, helping customers every day. And then still find time to be involved in community events and their kids' lives and anything and everything that the community asks of them.
I think that's a great example. Jen has always been someone who is kind of a backbone to our community, and she's a staple at almost every event, and her food and your food, of course, are always something I think about, but they truly get to know the customers, the clients that they're serving, and they match what their style and their love is to what they do. And that's what makes a product great. You can have a good product, but when you make it personal, it's a great product.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Traci, what would you say is one piece of advice you would give to other young professionals?
Oh, that's a tough one. Like I said, I don't even consider myself a professional sometimes. I feel like I'm in that weird stage of life where I'm not a kid. I don't feel like an adult yet. Keep it professional. I think establish those professional relationships and know when to involve the personal relationship. I think keeping that boundary just for your own mental health, knowing when to shut work off and when to turn it on.
Yes, absolutely. That work-life balance is tricky because you want to make a name and you want to be successful and you know how much work it's going to take, but you have to be able to take care of yourself, and being able to, relax and have your own personal relationships outside of your job is something I'm working on constantly.
Yeah, me too.
So besides Radford's, where do you hang out? And dance? What's your favorite thing to do in Wayne County? Where do you love to eat? Where do you love to shop?
I love to check out all the arts, being involved in dance and cooking. Anytime I can get to the farmer's market and see any of the fresh baked goods or the handmade products that people offer, anytime I can get to an RSO event or an RCT event, anything like that, those are the things I have the most fun with.
I love going to RSO events. RCT events are so much fun. I'm ready for COVID to be over so that we can get back out and do our thing. Yeah. I love to go and see all the a lot of young professionals talk about there's all these great festivals. The arts in Wayne County are just on a different level.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So any other advice or anything you'd like to say to young professionals about what you do, about your personal life, any stories you'd like to share?
I don't know. Like I said, I may not consider myself a professional, but there's always a need for the job that you're doing.
Yeah.
And somebody's always watching, whether you think they are or not. So get up every day, do the best you can, and yeah.
I will say I consider you a professional. It may not be, you may not be in the corporate office, but that doesn't mean you're not a professional. You are running a successful business. You are doing a great job at it. I appreciate working with you as much as I work with you, and I know our community does too. We're proud to have young professionals who have made the commitment to make Wayne County their home. And I think of you often when I think about those young professionals who have the chance to go anywhere and everywhere in the world and do incredible work, and you chose Wayne County. So thank you for that investment of your time and your energy and your enthusiasm, because it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So Traci is available. If they want to find you at Radford's, how do they contact you?
I'm normally on the east side, so we're right in front of 40 Bowl. You can find us on Facebook, Radford's Meat Market and Deli, and Radford's Meat Market and Deli East. You can send a message on there. Phone numbers are on there. Yeah, stop in. I'm always there.
You are. Actually, I'm going to head that way soon. And so, Traci, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and chatting. I know this was a quick interview, but you did. I'm so excited to have you featured. You're a great young professional for our community.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Roxie Deer with the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce and Hype Wayne County, and welcome to today's episode of Together, where we highlight one young professional and the work they're doing in Wayne County. I'm excited about this young professional because he's not only in the same office as me, he's new to the role, and he's got lots of cool things going on. So let's jump into it right now and welcome Alex Painter from the Wayne County Foundation. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Roxie. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for coming today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for the invite and including me in this. I'm very, very excited.
You are doing some amazing work, but before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are personally?
Sure. So I guess I'll start with some of the basics. I'm married to my wife, Alicia. We have
That's
three.
The most important thing to start an interview is to mention your spouse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have three just wonderfully beautiful children: Grayson, age 7, and twin daughters, Eleanor and Harper, ages 5 and 5. Obviously, they're twins. But so I came to Wayne County originally, Richmond, in 2006. I went to Earlham College. I'm actually a Fort Wayne native. But aside from that, I think the most interesting thing about me is I grew up and I was under the impression that I was from a big family. The older I've gotten, I've come to the grips with the fact that it's a very big family. I'm actually the second oldest of 10 children at home. So,
whoa, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's quite a brood. So there was about 10 of us in 15 years. So it was just it was an interesting I don't know any other upbringing. So I guess it was probably pretty interesting. But so anyways, so I guess I came to Richmond in 2006 and have really made my home here ever since. And my wife, Alicia, she's a Cincinnati native, and she's also obviously made her home here too.
How did you decide to come to Richmond? I know you said you went to Earlham, but you made a decision at some point in your life, I'm going to stay here. What was that like?
Absolutely. So I went to Earlham, and my experience there was incredibly transformative. Something that I just realized, there's so much passion in this community, more so even than I saw growing up in Fort Wayne. I'll never forget this. So I played football at Earlham, and one of our things that we did every year, we did this cleanup that the mayor, Sally Hutton at the time, organized. And I remember our coach would always tell us, I remember this was my first year, he's like, our coach said, hey, and the mayor's going to be there, so you guys don't act like you know what. We're like, okay, yeah, we won't. So we would always do this, and towards the end of the day, and it wasn't just it was us and a bunch of other volunteers too. Towards the end of the day, I remember asking my coach, hey, I thought you said the mayor was going to be here at this thing. Now, I expected to see, someone who was just kind of maybe overseeing, but Sally was very much involved in the process and picking up trash and just looked like everybody else out there doing the cleanup. And that just has always stuck with me. Like, that's how much she cared about this community. And that is, I don't know why, that's just always kind of sat right here. And so you look at Richmond, you see a lot of passionate people, a lot of people who are really dedicated to making the community a better place.
It's always interesting to see people when they come to our community and they realize we're not just talk. We do what we say we're going to do, and everyone gets involved. And you don't expect to see people like when you go to big communities, you're like, oh, the mayor's coming. Like they're going to have on their suit and tie. They're not going to get their hands dirty. And we're the exact opposite of that. We're really blessed with dedicated community servants.
I couldn't agree more. And like I said, that instance with Mayor Hutton, when my coach was like, she's right there. You've been working next to her the whole time. I was just absolutely floored. And I think that says a lot about us.
So now that you've made Wayne County your home, you worked at Earlham for a while. And why don't you start there and talk a little bit about how you got into the role you're in now?
Sure, absolutely. So I graduated from Earlham in 2010, and in the fall of 2013, I started in the admission office, and I kind of worked my way up the ladder there. In fact, this past year, I was promoted to kind of the de facto director role, but I just really, felt like I just needed a change personally. I needed a change of scenery, a change of landscape. While I was at Earlham, one of my jobs, part of my position was to help recruit students from Wayne County. And so that really kind of got me a little bit into the community, but I just kind of aspired to be more present. I looked at my wife and I was like, I'd love to kind of have that same level of impact or that same level of pushing towards collective impact. And so it was just really serendipitous. I was kind of just looking around. I happened to see this job as the community engagement officer in I think it was just like the classifieds. I was like, that sounds really amazing. And so I put my name in the hat, and sure enough, here I am. I started it in early December. So that's kind of how I ended up here, I suppose.
Why don't you tell everyone, because I think young professionals may not be as familiar with the foundation as some of our more seasoned professionals. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what the foundation does and what your role is there? Absolutely.
So the foundation, the foundation's goal is to be good stewards of our donors' resources, and we want to connect our donors with what they're passionate about or where they want to see impacts in our community. And not only that, I think some of the more famous things that the foundation does is, of course, the Lilly Scholarship. So we facilitate most of the county's scholarships and administer most of them, as well as like Challenge Match and the spring grant cycles. That all actually gets funneled through the foundation. So my job is to really just tell the story and serve as a community partner in showing, again, that shared collective impact that we have as a community together. And I'm just personally really excited about it. I mean, I think it'll kind of normalize a little bit when we're actually able to see each other face to face a little bit more frequently out and about in the community and hold events. But my position is really just to share that impact and share all the amazing things that are really unlocked by the community foundation here. It's an awesome staff, and the cause is just so noble, in my humble opinion. So it seemed like kind of a natural fit.
So maybe one of your gifts is a new project that you've brought to Wayne County, and that is the Negro League marker that we dedicated about a month ago, or a few weeks ago now. When this is airing, it'll be a little bit later. But why don't you talk, you told the story at the ribbon cutting. Why don't you tell the story about how you got involved and what it looks like now?
Oh, absolutely. Roxie, well, I can't thank you all at the chamber enough for putting on such an amazing event. It was, I was just completely floored. It was wonderful. So thank you, just as a quick aside. But I'm a huge baseball fan, and one of my things I really enjoy within the baseball world is Negro Leagues baseball, which has gotten a lot of attention here lately because there was the centennial of the Negro Leagues was last year, and Major League Baseball now recognizes Negro Leagues as a major league, which sounds ridiculous, but it wasn't the case until last year.
Right.
So I started doing this project where I just wanted to see how many games came to Richmond, how many Negro League teams came here. I knew of 2 games, and I was like, surely there's more. And honestly, as I kind of said, I thought maybe at the end of the road, I could have wrote a really cute Facebook post or maybe even a letter to the editor of the local papers. I'm like, hey, look at this. But it became clear that our involvement with the Negro Leagues was vast, and we actually had well over 100 baseball games played here by Negro League teams over a 5-decade span. And it was just absolutely, I was completely shocked almost at every turn. And I told my wife, I was like, Alicia, I think I'm going to write a history of the Negro Leagues through the lens of Richmond, Indiana. And I just thought that was like kind of this novel idea where I can kind of connect two of my passions together and hit the live wire and see what happens. And so, but really the marker came about after the book was finished and all of that, is I just approached the parks. I approached the mayor's office and other community partners, and we just made it happen so seamlessly. And honestly, that was just the process was so refreshing. Everybody was willing to help with their time or their talent or their treasure, whatever it might be. And that's truly what happens when you get people in a community like ours that really, once we can kind of sit at the same table and start talking about ideas and all that. So the marker is right next to the Rose Garden at the that entrance of the park. It's really quite something. Check it out.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I had no idea until I was there that day that behind the billboards across the street there was a baseball diamond, and eventually they moved across town to what we know now as McBride Stadium, but I didn't even know that was where that had been, or that had ever existed. So now I've been doing my own research, and I'm excited to see how that's grown and changed on that side of town, because I didn't know that growing up.
It's one of those things that I think very few people knew, that there was like a legit stadium where those billboards are. And it's quite cool to be able to kind of unearth that, so to speak.
Yeah. Alex, let's switch a little bit and talk about people who have mentored you. Is there someone that stands out, and what have they taught you?
Absolutely. I guess first and foremost, I come from, as I mentioned, a big family. We all do vastly different things, and I'd like to think we all work very, very hard at those things, and are good people, I hope. So I guess I have to put that one on my parents. So I thank them for that. But I would say here in the last several years, easily my professional mentor has been the same person as my personal mentor. And it's someone that a lot of people around here know. His name's Nick Johnson. He was one of my football coaches at Earlham. And I'll never forget when I just realized how kind and genuine that man is. And he's kind to everybody, and he's a friend to everybody, which might seem a bit tongue in cheek, but if you know Nick, you know that to be the truth. It's
true. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And I know that those seem like personal traits, but any workplace you're in, and I mean this, any workplace you're in, does not matter. Being kind to people is something that you should always be thinking about. And that's a very translatable thing. So I have just always tried to, and I got to work with Nick professionally for a number of years over at Earlham, but I just saw what I thought of him personally and what I viewed as his personal traits were truly his professional traits, and how he carried himself. And man's taught me a lot. He was my surrogate father for several years when I was in school. He's a wonderful person. He's easily my personal and professional mentor.
The first time I met Nick, we introduced each other. We were in we were helping at a middle school program, and I met him a few months later, and I thought, he's not going to remember me. And I went up to introduce myself, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I know you, Roxie, right?" And I was like, he never forgets a name, and he has a story for everything. And I appreciate Nick and the work that he does, because he makes you feel very connected very quickly. And that's a hard trait to learn.
I agree. And Roxie, you've hit the nail on the head. He's just a really special man, has an incredibly special family too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love his family. So last question. This is the fun question. What does your family do for fun in Wayne County, and where's your favorite place to eat?
Okay. Yes. We love going on walks, because my kids can kind of ride their bikes and all that. So we are, especially when the weather gets nice, I'd say conservatively 3 to 5 times a week, we're either walking at Hayes Arboretum. It's like easily our favorite spot. But some nights we go over to the Veterans Park and walk over to the Jeanette Records building and then come back. You will find us walking. And I know that sounds really late. Maybe I'm getting older. I love walking. Well, we love walking.
That sounds really peaceful, actually.
Oh, it's wonderful. And like the only thing that interrupts the tranquility is probably my kids yelling at each other. But it's really awesome because it's so relaxing, and it gives us a chance to kind of connect after the workday is over. So Hayes Arboretum, and certainly the Veterans Park to Jeanette Walk, and we'll even go further down sometimes. So the Cardinal Greenway, I guess I should say. Favorite place to eat? We're East Siders, so especially during the pandemic, we love El Rodeo Carryout.
It's one of the best, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So if we want to go sit somewhere, we'll probably go to like the Firehouse or Gallows, but can't beat El Rodeo Carryout. Just so those are probably our favorite spots.
So I've been doing these interviews for about a year now, and I've never had the same restaurant twice. How crazy is that? Everybody has a different restaurant. We've had Gallows, we've had Firehouse, but we've never had an El Ro. So I think that it's interesting because people go, oh yeah, that's my restaurant. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love that restaurant, but everyone has a different one in town. So that's great to hear.
Oh yeah. I get nostalgic too. I mean, being on Earlham's, the west side too, like, gosh, I feel like that's where my graduation meal was. It was Elro. So yeah, just kind of a walk down memory lane, and they're good.
Absolutely. Alex, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
I don't think so. I'd like to say thank you once again. This has been awesome. This is great. I love the fact that you all are doing this. And if you'd like to connect with me, I'm pretty easy to find, but you can just have a conversation, a cup of coffee, anything. Feel free to reach on out. But thank you, Roxie. I do appreciate you inviting me to this conversation.